Sierra is a high school student who's just getting ready to go to school. Sierra's mom, Jules, tells her daughter about this new love mantra she plans to introduce in her seminar. Sierra mocks the mantra with her friend Dan, who understands that her parents are over-supportive and on the contrary, his are not. Sierra posts a paper to the bulletin board announcing her tutoring services. However, Veronica rips it off. During class, Ms. Thompson gives them a poetry assignment. Mackenzie tells Sierra that perhaps she could do it on her trans experience. But Ms. Thompson hears this and replies that in that case, Mackenzie can write about her horrible personality. At the end of the class, Sierra says thank you to Ms. Thompson, but emphasizes that she doesn't need help to fight her battles. Ms. Thompson says that she knows that, but still enjoys it. Then she compliments Sierra's poetry, expressing that she already knows she'll outshine all the other poems in the class. At the restroom, Veronica moves Sierra away from the sink, calling her Frodo. Sierra corrects Veronica, explaining that the character she meant to say was Quasimodo, who's ridiculed for his appearance. Sierra leaves feeling like a champion. Later, Sierra discusses with Counselor Stevens her desire to go to Stanford since she has an almost perfect score on her SATs. The counselor asks her if she has created a social movement, to which Sierra replies no. The counselor Stevens gets serious with her and explains that there's nothing interesting about her resume except for a famous father. So she ends up suggesting that they co-write a book. Meanwhile, Veronica is having lunch with her friends, Mackenzie and Chrissy. Veronica shows them a picture of a college student named Spence who she believes to be really hot. Suddenly a guy named Jamie approaches her. Veronica pretends to give Jamie her number but ends up giving Sierra's number she got from her tutoring service. Sierra receives a message from Jamie, and the next day during music class, Sierra tells Dan about this. Sierra is super happy to have met this guy and they texted all night, but she's aware that this guy thinks that she's somebody else. Dan is suspicious of this guy because he could be a psycho cat fishing her. Sierra doesn't listen to her friend and keeps talking to Jamie. The next morning, Jamie tells his friends that she's made progress with Veronica and he's happy to see that she's not just pretty, but really smart and funny. So he then decides to send a picture of himself shirtless. Sierra is not sure how to reply to that, so she sends a picture of an elephant. Jamie feels relief to at least get a reply and finds it funny. Sierra, who's working with Dan, gets too entertained with her phone. Dan grabs it and sees Jamie wrote a confession that he didn't want to scare her off, but he knew she was Veronica even before talking to her. Since she's the head cheerleader, he sees her every time they play. Dan wants to tell him the truth, but Sierra says that she wants to tell him herself. The following day, Sierra tells Dan that theoretically, she can still make this work until the big game when East plays West. Sierra wants to convince Dan that Jamie is falling for her and not Veronica because she's using her own words. Sierra notices that Veronica has been crying because things are not going the way she expected with Spence. So Sierra uses the opportunity to confront her about the fact that she gave out her number. Sierra proposes to Veronica they can help each other. Sierra can help Veronica seem smarter to get back with Spence in exchange for a minor favor she will discuss with her later. Veronica welcomes Sierra to her chaotic house. Veronica's mom, Trish, gets mad at her for skipping her gymnastics class. After Trish is gone, Sierra gets Veronica started with Play-Doh. After a while, Veronica cracks because of how horrible comments her mother makes about the body and how exhausting her two sisters can be. However, she offers Sierra to send some spicy pictures to Jamie. Sierra doesn't agree with this and explains that he's not like that. So Veronica just takes some selfies. Jamie likes the picture and asks her if they could actually get on a call. While Sierra was tutoring Veronica, Jamie calls her, so Sierra makes Veronica be in front of the camera while she is the one doing the talking. However, Jamie notices that something is off with the video synchronization. So they both agree to just talk on the phone later. When Jamie calls, he tries his luck and asks her to go on a date. Sierra essentially tells him that they will go on a date. Sierra and Dan are picking up trash as part of their community service for their college application when suddenly Sierra spots Jamie playing with his brother in the park. So Dan decides to invite himself into the game, dragging Sierra along. Since Sierra doesn't want to speak, she tries to do sign language. Jamie gets excited and introduces his brother, who's deaf. The moment is uncomfortable, But after they shake hands, Sierra changes her mind and begins to believe that maybe she doesn't need Veronica to go on the date with Jamie. However, Sierra allows Veronica to go on a movie date with Jamie. But Sierra sits behind them during the movie. Veronica warns Sierra about Jamie wanting to drive her home. Sierra hides under Jamie's car and sends Veronica what she should reply to every time. Jamie asks Veronica what she wants to be in life. Sierra doesn't know what text to send her, so Veronica replies that she should be a singer. This is because during her tutoring she saw what a great singer Sierra is. But then Veronica says that she really hasn't thought much about life after high school, that is until she met Sierra. Jamie is surprised because he remembers meeting a Sierra. Jamie was about to kiss Veronica, but Sierra grabs Veronica's leg, scaring her and avoiding this moment. Veronica asks Jamie to close his eyes and signals Sierra to stand in her place, and then Sierra kisses Jamie. Later we see Veronica inviting Sierra to a party. Mackenzie tells Veronica that she's committing social suicide for hanging out with Sierra. In the meantime, the dudes are making Sierra chug down a bunch of alcohol. Then Sierra overhears Spence saying that he told Veronica was dumb to make her insecure. Sierra was going to approach Veronica, but all the drinking made her stumble. When she gets up, Veronica is already with Spence. During class, Ms. Thompson asks Sierra to read her poem, but Sierra has to excuse herself, saying that she completely forgot. Veronica runs up to Sierra crying to tell her that Spence dumped her again. Veronica says that none of that would have happened if she was with Jamie. Later we see Sierra in her band uniform seeing from the distance how Jamie kisses Veronica. However, what she doesn't see is Veronica breaking the kiss fast and feeling guilty. Sierra logs into Veronica's Instagram account. The football game begins. Sierra makes a guy next to her yell Jamie's name because she's deaf to his eyes. Jamie turns around and waves at her. Suddenly everyone sees what Sierra posted on Veronica's account. The picture shows she got dumped by Spence over DM. And to make matters worse, Spence shows the picture on the score screen. This distracts Jamie, making him stumble. Sierra runs to check out on Jamie. Veronica says to Sierra that she told her stuff that she didn't to anyone else and that she shouldn't be concerned with her looks because they are the least ugly thing about her. Dan also tells Sierra that what she did was wrong. Sierra writes a song to express her feelings and shows it to her dad, who reassures her by saying that she should just be herself. Veronica knocks on Jamie's door to talk to him. Sierra gets ready to go to homecoming even though she's not going with anyone. Suddenly she gets a text telling her to look out the window to figure out who this is. Jamie is waiting for her outside. He says that Veronica showed him her song. Jamie says that what she did was terrible, but he's actually into her, so he leans in and kisses her. Then they leave for homecoming together. Dan and Veronica also end up on good terms with her.